start to make friends.
Right.
But when I first started working, I was like, I ain't here to make friends. I'm here to make money. And you know, like I was very standoffish. Like I didn't give my social media accounts.
Right. I don't either.
I really, honestly, to me, I don't think it's appropriate.
Right.
Because if if we be honest, I'm not busting it open in my social media.
Right.
However, you guys, I see you all day.
Right.
I don't want to be talking to you when I go home.
Exactly.
I don't. But like I had to learn how to communicate with my coworkers. I had to learn how to befriend my coworkers or become colleagues with them because we're trying to tackle the same problems. But like that can make and break your job too, because you can have somebody who comes in and like they're great at what they're doing, but they don't talk to anybody. You don't know them. So like what happens if like the poop hit the fan? You don't know how that person's going to react, you know?
Because I remember when you was on your phone back there and yada, yada, yada. What?
Who said that?
No, I'm just giving a...
Oh, man. And
I did have one instance when we were working together at, but like I literally was sitting at my desk, like not doing anything. Like it would probably be, it's probably like 2-3 days I could like tell you for sure I was doing work, and it was like a small project. And like when I was doing projects, I would give it my full attention.
Yeah.
But like, them other days, they didn't have me doing nothing. They had me watching people. They had me just kind of like just floating around the office.
Yeah.
So like I would do my personal projects.
Yeah.
Or I would be like downstairs on the phone or whatnot. Not like the whole shift now.
Yeah.
But if I had a phone call and I've been at my desk for like some hours, I'd just walk off, whatever. But like people was coming by. They sent the guy that was over us, they sent him an email telling him I was working on personal projects, yada, yada, yada.
And I know exactly who it was too.
And I was like...
I know exactly who it was because she used to do the same thing to me. Sorry, girl. But she used to do the same thing to me. That's the thing. When you start to get to know people and they know what type of person you are and what kind of work you do, like stuff like that isn't going to bother them. But what helped me was I didn't do a lot of personal projects, but I did do projects that I started there, if that makes sense. Like I would sketch something, they will see me sketching that something. Then I will put that something on the computer, then they'll see me working on that something. Exactly. So they'll know like, oh, it's not freelance work. She's just bored. So yeah. And I still get in trouble for that. Don't think you want me to sit here and twiddle my thumbs and act like I'm working. No, I'd rather really be working on something.
Exactly. I was listening to an interview, and it was a designer from Nike, if I'm not mistaken, and she was actually talking about like if they're having like a down moment or a downtime at the office, like they don't mind their people working on other projects because it
breaks up the monotony,
right? And it fuels
that the right word?
Listen, don't ask me. I don't know. But it kind of just fuels whatever creativity or whatever is needed for the project that they may have at hand. So I'm just like, so I guess it's just like you have to kind of, and it's, I'm not saying it's sad to say this, but it kind of is like when you're working with people, you kind of have to try to figure out who people are because, of course, you always got that one that you're like, stay away from them.
Yeah.
But at this last role that I had, I pretty much got along. Well, not pretty much. I did get along with everybody that I worked with. We went to lunch together, yada, yada, yada. But, I mean, when I messaged them, I was like, yeah. They told me that the contract was over. They was like, what? Well, we can still go to lunch if you want to. I was like... Okay.
I still talk to some people that I've worked with, and it's not all of them. And you know the ones that you only tolerated while you were at work.
Right.
Like there are some that I'll never tell anybody that I'm still friends with that I used to work with who I didn't like at that company.
Right.
But it is one of those things that can make a break because it's half work, half relationships. It really is.
That's true. I totally agree. So let's move on to freelance projects that we. Well, before we move into that, did you think anything? Because if not, we'll just move into that.
Oh, I haven't even had time to think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll do. We can come back to. We can loop back around. But freelance projects, are there any?
Oh, I got plenty of those.
Well, I'll let you start off. Like, why didn't you get the position? Well, not the position. Why didn't you get the job, or did you already have the job and then the person just kind of canceled? Like something you may have done to drop the ball, or you can just tell us about that.
Oof, I'm trying to think. Hold on, let me write down a list real quick.
Because I know with me I don't have, now let me be clear, I don't have a lot of clients that I just blatantly drop the ball on.
Yeah, it kind of like, just like what we just talked about relationships, like half relationship, half work. It's the same thing with your clients, except it's more based off of the relationship than anything else, because most of the people that come to me aren't familiar with branding at all. Okay. So they're really kind of like apprehensive, one, because they're working with somebody personally, and two, because they don't know much about the business or about what kind of impact design has on their business. I think the first time that I really had I dropped the ball, and it was mostly because I took on more than I should have, and I did not get compensated for it. So I started to lose not only interest, but I started losing, like, the motivation to do it. It was a nonprofit. However, the nonprofit was milking me like a cow. Okay.
Was it like revisions, or was it just the work you weren't interested anymore? Because I know me, like, there are times that I'll be interested in the initial conversation or the initial project, and then, like, as time goes on and, like, they want revisions over revisions, I'm like, okay.
It wasn't revisions so much because I'm good on, like, I usually tell them how many revisions it was, although they did get more than they should have.
Okay.
My thing was, and this is where I dropped the ball, when you first start doing freelance, you feel like you can do everything. Right. I know I am not a web designer. I can design my own website, and like I said before, I don't like my website now. I'm going to change it again. And I don't want to do updates every month. I don't want to charge you a fee every month for me to update your website, because I don't really like doing websites. So that was something that I realized after I took on that project, that, like, I'm not a web designer. And on top of that, it was almost pretty much free for the website that they got. But it was a way that I experienced how I just have to say, like, I just have to be like, look, I'm sorry, but I don't think this is going to work out. And since it's a website, it's kind of like, well, dang, who's going to do the updates? Right. Like, exactly. I don't know.
You? Are you going to hire somebody else to do it?
Right. And I think, so the second one is more recent. I had, like, a construction business hit me up. They wanted a logo. And what is happening?
Yeah, they got a lot of stuff going on at the building above. So
good God.
I thought someone was gonna fall through the roof. We in the basement over here.
So it was a construction business, and they hit me up to do a logo, and it was crazy. Like, it was good and bad at the same time because of how he found me. And you never know when somebody's going to pick up your information, because I kid you not, he found my business card at a gas station.
Wow.
And I was like, you're kidding. He said, yeah, I went in the gas station to use the bathroom, and you know how they have the bulletin boards? He said it was pinned up there. I was like, well, where was it? And he told me some random city in North Carolina. I was like, I didn't put it there. You never know. Yo, but God. Anyway.
I didn't think people still listen. I killed that out of my marketing strategy.
Man, listen, whenever I do get the chance, though, I will say that I leave a card somewhere, because Vistaprint has really good deals. Right. And I always have ample, like, when I change my business cards, I always still have ample old ones. So I just need to get rid of them. Right. If you need to get rid of them, just get rid of them. Right. But yeah, he found my he found my card. And
did they pay a good amount for their services?
I'm gonna get there.
Okay.
So we get to talking, and I quoted him a price or whatever, and he was cool with it. And he tells me that he's gonna talk to his group, and I send him the contract and all that kind of stuff. We're talking money now, and we're at the final stage where I'm waiting for him to send me back the contract, and I hear nothing from him.
Oh gosh, I hate that.
And
I almost heard crickets just now. Did you hear that?
I thought that. I was like, was that a cricket? I wasn't gonna say anything.
I'm not crazy.
I wasn't gonna say anything. But
my bad.
Like, dang, am I boring?
Right.
So yeah, But that's the thing. Like, I always make sure I have a written agreement. Because that will steer away all the people that are not serious about it. Right. I don't know if it was the price. I don't know if he found a better designer, a more experienced designer. I don't know if they found an agency they would rather go with. I really don't know. Like, because I did follow up emails. Okay. But that was one that was recent. I was like, dang, because he wanted the whole 9. He didn't just want a logo. Like, I was going to brand him out. He was going to get a couple of posters. He was going to get a lot. And I was, you know, rubbing my hands together. So it kind of sucked that he ain't hit me back. Right. I was just like, man.
I would have been pissed.
The thing is, though, like, I know I have a certain twang to the way I talk. I'm a little feisty. But when it comes to my business, I'm as professional as possible. Like, I can switch like that. Right. Like, especially when we talk about money. Right. You get what I'm saying? So he didn't hit me back. And I think that was one thing. Another thing that has been hindering me recently is I'm changing my customers. Right. And it's going to take a while because the ones that hit me up, the first thing they say is I'm on a budget. You don't tell that to your hairdresser. Exactly. You don't tell that to the person that's fixing your washer dryer. Why are you telling me this? Because off gate, the first email, you're telling me that, oh, I'm expecting you to be cheap. I'm expecting you to give me your time, your life for less money than you think it's worth. And I had to tell her, I told her up front, like, hey, this is the price of this service if you want it. And she sends me an email back saying, well, I'm looking at another designer and his price is this. And it was $75 less than what I quoted her.
Get out of here.
Sweetheart. I said, listen, you can either, I said, I think it would be better for you to go to the other designer because that is not, you know, what I'm going for. And she pretty much said, all right, well, I'm going to go with you. I sent her the contract, so we really going to see how serious she is. And I might be coming back next time saying, she won't that serious.
Right. So it's recent?
Yes, this was last week.
Oh, okay.
So this
she got time.
Yeah, she got some time. That's why I'm like, we're going to see. We're going to see. But, yeah.
Okay. So back to your first point, when you were talking about the website project, I'm at that same place too. When I've been doing design for a while, so I know what I like and what I don't like, and it won't be beneficial for me or the client if I'm doing something that I don't like doing. And at one point, I thought that I should just kind of do things. The way my mind works, y'all, it's crazy. I should do things for money, not like stripping or nothing. But that's why I was laughing. That's why I was laughing because of what that would have sounded.
Tell me more.
But I was thinking I should like design things just for money at some
the check, yeah.
Right, especially like if you're in a tight space, you're like,
yeah, I could use it. Yeah.
So, but I'm just at the place now that if I don't like doing it, I'm not going to do it, or I'll just contract it out, because if I don't like doing it, it's going to show that, okay, he didn't do his best.
Right.
So I've learned to like just not go with something just because it might be paying a little bit more. No, if you don't like doing it, then it's no need, because it's going to reflect on your brand. It's going to reflect to the client. They didn't like doing this project. They just threw this thing together.
Yeah. It's a very thin line sometimes. But I just know now that I do not offer websites because it will be, like you just said, it will be bad for me. It'll be bad for the client. It'll be bad for my brand. It'll be bad for my time. It'll be bad for my patients. Right. It's like too much of a long list. Yeah. And like websites take a lot. Oh, yeah. They take a lot of time. They do. And most of the time, the effort that I would put into designing, matching the branding, making sure all the information is up there, making sure they have the right content, like most of the time, people don't really want to pay for that.
Right. That's true.
So,
yeah, I agree.
It is what it is. Got to take your L's.
Another thing that I've started doing is screening clients, being that I've just kind of taken a step back and looked at the bigger scope of what I want my business to be and how much I want to make in a year. And also matching that with quality work now. I'm not going to just say I want to make this a year and my work looking like Microsoft Word. Yeah. But
Speaking of which, no.
Go
Go ahead.
Write that down so we can come back to this.
Right.